We're on the cloud. Perfect.
Can I go ahead? Okay. Good morning, good evening, wherever you come from. Welcome to Interpersonal Toastmasters. I welcome our president. Sorry, we don't have a president right now. I'm sorry, I'm autopilot. But I would like to welcome each one of us to this meeting. And as we start, I needed to let you know that I am the Toastmaster of the day, and I'm glad to be presenting a very interesting topic of the day, which is agility and the fourth industrial revolution. I would like to inform us today that our meeting will be 1 hour, 1.5 hours, I think. And I would like to kindly invite the role takers of the day. But before I do that, I would like to inform you a little bit about our topic today, which is agility and the fourth industrial revolution. I will be speaking about 3 main issues in regards to our topic today, which is agility, the bedrock of the fourth industrial and entrepreneurship revolution. I will be speaking about your personal agility ideas, your communal agility ideas, and your national, regional, or global agility ideas. Before we go any further, I would like to invite our role takers who will be managing our meeting today. Our role takers include our grammarian, Dash, our table topics master, Christine, our assembly. Will I ask our grammarian, is she in the room, Adarsh?
Does not appear that Adarsh has arrived, or Christine as of yet.
Oh, Christine, they have not yet arrived. Okay. I am going to mention the word of the day just for the sake of the grammarian. Whenever they come in, they will be able to present their report. But the word of the day today is passion. Progress. And I do not, yes, passion. Has everybody got the word of the day? It's passion. And I'm going to ask one of us to volunteer to put the meaning of passion in the chat section so that we know what it is, how it is being used. And I'm going to ask Kenneth to go ahead and present your requirements of us in the meeting as the timer. Please go ahead, Kenneth. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. I will be your timer today. I will be looking for prepared speeches. They are 5 to 7 minutes. I will be flashing green, yellow, and red at the appropriate time windows. Green means you have met your base timing. Yellow is a warning, and red, you can go up to 1 minute after the red is flashed. And I will be delivering my report at the end of people who qualify for having their speech in the right parameters. Back to you, Catherine.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kenneth. Grace, our counter, will you kindly give us a bit of your expectations of us during this meeting? Thank you, Grace, for sharing the word of the day, passion. Members, please look at it in the chat. Grace, please go ahead and share your expectations of our meeting as the counter. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Grace and I'll be your counter for today's meeting. I will be looking for some filler words like with all of the speakers tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grace. And lecture today to all of us is passion. Passion is any noun or compelling emotion or feeling as love or hate. This drives us to do what we do. And I would like to encourage each of us to passionately use the word of the day as we have our meeting. Thank you. And now it is time for one of the most important parts of our meeting, which is the prepared speeches. Before we go into our prepared speeches, I just want to describe a little bit about what agility and the fourth industrial or entrepreneurship revolution looks like. I mentioned that I'll be talking about three major issues, and that is personal agility, communal agility, national, regional, and global agility. With the personal agility, I will be sharing about how to discover, study, innovate, apply, and get accountable. And when we do this, we will understand how we can position ourselves personally in the fourth industrial and entrepreneurship revolution. For now, our first speaker of the day is Toastmaster Carol. Carol Sang will be speaking from the Engaging Humor Level 1 Project 3 series. And Carol will be evaluated by DTM Susan. Distinguished Toastmaster Susan, will you kindly give us a brief snippet of what you expect Carol's speech to entail? Thank you.
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, Carol will be presenting her researching and presenting project. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn and review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. The title of her speech is Yunnan Expedition. She is asking for 10 to 12 minutes for this presentation.
Thank you very much, DTM Susan. The Yunnan Expedition, Toastmaster Carol, the Yunnan Expedition.
It was 8th March 2016, 4:30 a.m. I was already at the gate, waiting for my transport to go to Singapore Changi Airport to catch a flight to Yunnan. Where is Yunnan? It had been my wish to explore Yunnan, one of the most mountainous regions of China. There were several amazing sites that are worth exploring. Long time ago, in the 80s and before, it was almost not accessible to the northern part of Yunnan. Not until the highway was built in 2014, and in January 2015, the highway was officially opened. There were 8 of us, 5 guys and 3 ladies, including me. We were also excited and looked forward to the trip. Golf was my passion, and also photography. Before I went, I did a research about the region and what to expect in this intriguing and mysterious region of Southwest China. We hired a local guide. When we arrived, she was there waiting for us with a board showing our names and used a broad, heartwarming, and assuring smile. We were all golfers, and we brought along our golf sets to experience the longest golf course in the world. And it is in the northern part of Yunnan, where it is the eastern end of the Himalaya mountain range. Well, just wait what I'm going to tell you. Before we move on, let's take a look at the map of China. Yeah. We will be traveling, and this is Yunnan. We will be traveling from here, where we landed at the airport, the Kunming International Airport, and our expedition will be from here right up the mountain range, right up to the snow mountain called the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain at the northern end. And this is what we will expect. By the time when we were there in 2016, people were educated and lived in cities. But before that, they lived in the mountains. The people, the ethnic groups, there are 45 ethnic groups in Yunnan, and they don't meet each other because of the mountains. There were different tribes, and there were no roads accessible in the different regions. Until we had this highway, we were able to go up and visit them. There were several big universities now in the cities, and everybody traveled comfortably, like you and I. There were airports in every city. They spoke the common language, which is the Chinese language, besides their own dialects. Kunming is the capital of Yunnan. It is also known as the Spring City. All year round, you will find flowers. It is the biggest flowers export in China. Flowers were everywhere. Our expedition will cover from Kunming to the mountain areas of Dali, Lijiang, and the Jade Dragon Mountains. And you can see our route is from here to there. Every city belongs to one ethnic group, but they can mix around. You do see different groups in cities now. When we arrived, we were at this place, Kunming. In the daytime, we went exploring the city, and by end of the day, we lived in this 5-star hotel that is called the Spring City Golf Resort. And this is how the golf course looked like. It's just at the mountainside. It was so beautiful. The air was so clean and so fresh. It was rather cold at night, even in the morning or in the evening. I'm sorry, why do we have music?
They have
And
been
here,
muted.
wonderful. These are our people, the 8 of us. What an experience, golfing in a garden of flowers and fresh, unpolluted air. The next morning is exciting. We were on our excursion to this wonderful, humongous forest, not a forest of trees. It's a forest of gigantic stones that were so unbelievably huge. The stone forest dated back to 270 million years ago and is listed as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2007. National Geographic has stated that it is one of the world's most amazing and natural phenomenon places, covering 300 square meters. It is known as the Xiling UNESCO Global Geopark. Xiling means in Chinese stone forest because of the tall and pillar-like limestone and distributed around that area. Walking in, this is the front of the park. But as we went in, things changed. It's different. We were like tiny ants in front of these giant stones. And I was there beneath this stone, this huge stone, as if it's like going to fall onto my head. Our guide said, it was like a maze, and please do not go astray as it becomes dark at around 3 p.m. There is no way that you can find your way out in the dark. It will be very cold at night and it can be freezing point. So please stick to me. All of us were so scared and followed her closely. Just look at it. We were up and up and up into the forest. It was dark inside. And there, our group was there. And let's look at the next photo. Look at the person opposite, just how tiny the person was. We went in, we saw many amazing things. The following day, we golfed in the Stone Forest golf course, experiencing hitting golf balls into the huge stones and climbing up and down the stones. This was where we were at the golf course. It was like some kind of ruins somewhere, and you can never find your ball, you see, when it's hit into the stones. But it's an experience. Look at the golf course. We are climbing up and up the hill. The weather was beautiful. It was so nice. Well, our long journey had begun up the mountains from Kunming, Shilin Forest, Stone Forest Park. We went up north. We traveled along the road from Kunming to the city called Dali. This is a city of another ethnic group. Dali is where the Dali-Lijiang Highway of 2015 begins. At night, we stayed in the hotel in Dali. And this is also a golf resort. We went into the mountains and visited the locals there. We went into a restaurant where we had local cuisines. And these are the tribes in the mountain. They do have restaurants for foreigners and visitors to sample their food. Well, what do they eat? It was very, very salty, very, very spicy. Why? Because it's cold there and they have to keep their food for a long time. After hunting, bringing back the meat, they put a lot of salt and also a lot of dried chilies. It's very spicy. Look at the dish there that we add. One of them is the grasshopper at the right-hand side. The other one were paddy worms we add. They were fried and crispy, so we don't mind. We tried. Then the next day, we went on to our road. And this is the map of the mountainous region from Dali-Lijiang Mountain Highway. It was a long and tedious journey up north, but the way was a panoramic scenery that captured our hearts. Climbing, 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 and we passed through uncountable tunnels. We could hear our ears ringing and the sound of silence, the stillness of the jungle, except our car engine. Finally, we reached the most northern city of Yunnan called Lijiang. Lijiang is an ancient city that dated back to the Song dynasty. It is about 800 feet above sea level. Now, we reach to the grand finale. We are reaching the Jade Dragon Mountain, the most extraordinary golf course in the world. We were golfing at an altitude of 10,800 feet above sea level, the second highest in the world and the highest in Asia. It is the longest golf course in the world. It was very cold. I was sort of stiff and numbed, the greatest experience I ever had. These are the mountains. I was teeing off here. And here are some photos of the mountains. And today, in 2022, this is the latest Yunnan highway in 2022 in Yunnan. Thank you, and back to you.
Wow, wow, wow. What an expedition. Thank you so much, Carol. You have expressed exactly what we needed today. The kind of Yunnan expedition every Toastmaster and everybody needs. Thank you so much for that lovely speech. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, our second speaker of the day is Jim Denson, who will be giving 3 of the prepared speeches. And his title is Literary Rite of Passage. Before Jim takes the podium, I would like to invite his valuator, Toastmaster Piyush, to give us a snippet of his speech.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Catherine. Jim would be talking about the speech, Literary Rite of Passage, and it's part of the pathway Persuasive Influence Level 1 project, writing a speech with purpose. So we're looking for the element of purpose and the level of persuasion that Jim draws us in his speech. Thank you. And over to you, Toastmaster Catherine.
Literary Rite of Passage, Jim Denson. Jim Denson, Literary Rite of Passage.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. I want to take you to Labor Day 2022. That was an important day for me because I finished this, War and Peace, Leo Tolstoy's epic novel that many call the greatest novel ever written. I started it at around Thanksgiving in 2020 because I was approaching a milestone birthday and I wanted to have a way to, I wanted to set a goal for myself as to what I wanted to accomplish on this milestone birthday. And of all the great novels that I had read in college, War and Peace was never one of them. It always intimidated me. And I had tried to read it in past years, and because of its sheer length and size and scope, it just defeated me. I just saw its vastness and I got a little intimidated, but I said, this time I'm going to plow through and do whatever I can to finish reading it. And so while I feel very much accomplished to finally have read it and to tell you a little bit about it tonight, I do have to say that saying in one sentence what War and Peace is about has really been difficult, but I'm going to try to distill it for you as best I can in these few minutes. As I say, War and Peace is vast. And it's vast because Tolstoy gives a panoramic view of Russian life around 1805, as Russia is preparing for the expected invasion from Napoleonic forces from France. That's the setting of the book. And the book revolves around three main characters. There's Pierre Bezukhov, a young man, decent man. He's rather aimless, and he just receives an inheritance from his non-biological father. And this inheritance makes him the second wealthiest person in all of Russia. But here he is, not really being sure of what he wants to do with his life. So he's searching, he's questing. Second main character, Prince Andrei Bolkonsky, a man a little bit older than Pierre, a good friend of Pierre's, but he comes from a life of relative privilege. But he's very cool, he's very intellectual and non-emotional whatsoever, as we see at the beginning of the novel. His problem is that, well, my life just seems so stagnant. I want to do something that really is going to make an impact, that's really going to bring me glory and bring me honor. What can I do? That's Prince Andrei. And the third main character, who is called the heroine of the novel, Natasha Rostov. Beautiful teenager, very, very enthusiastic, and she has a way of just dazzling people with her smile, her enthusiasm, her passion, you name it. And she captivated both Pierre and Andrei at various points in the novel. Now, the book is really about how these three main characters are changed by the imminence of war. And war, I call it, as it relates to War and Peace, it's the ultimate societal stress test, because it really is, it puts the ultimate pressure on society in so many ways. And these three characters are trying to find themselves so that they can find out what their role is going to be as it relates to the pending war. So that's a theme that kind of repeats itself throughout the novel. And the way that these characters are changed is quite interesting. For Pierre, he joins an organization called the Freemasons, and the philosophy of the group, according to him, is just to appreciate the humanity of every person, and to do that in every area of your life, and to appreciate that in every area of your life. He has such enthusiasm for this newfound philosophy, and he's so enthusiastic about it. Prince Andrei, he becomes somewhat more interested too in what Pierre's expressing, and he becomes more appreciative of people and of showing emotion. And this becomes important because Prince Andrei, who had a military background, he was able to lead a regiment at a certain point in the novel. And it was understood that while he was away, Natasha and he were going to get married when he returned from battle. That, of course, never happened, though, because Natasha allowed herself to be smitten by another man. Now, she didn't do anything to consummate this relationship with the new man, but she was so guilt-ridden that she almost became suicidal for having betrayed Andrei. However, things kind of worked out in the end, because as Russia was being or as Moscow was being evacuated in anticipation of the French invading, Prince Andrei was wounded. And as he was being transported back to Russia, it turned out that Natasha was able to nurse him as much as possible to a certain level of health. And he ended up passing away, but all wasn't lost, because as he passed away, he learned the value of life, in that during an early battle scene in the novel, he gets wounded, and as he's laying on the ground and just looking up at the vast sky, he's looking up at the sky and saying to himself, with this vast sky and its ultimate possibility, what is it that I'm thinking about in terms of what is glory and honor compared to the vastness that the sky has to offer and that life has to offer? It transforms his perspective in a profound way. And even Natasha is transformed throughout the novel too, because of the demands that war places on the society. She has to become an adult. The same personality traits that she uses or had used to dazzle people, she now had to use in order to build a family life, a satisfying family life. Fast forwarding to the end of the novel, it turns out that Pierre and Natasha are married and they start a family. And that's important because family life to Tolstoy is extremely important, as the novel points out. And they're both able to build a legacy through children that aspire to be like them. And even Prince Andrei in death is appreciated and remembered in the lives of their children. That's really what War and Peace is about, as far as I'm concerned. Just people trying to deal with the contradictions of life in their own ways and trying to make the best sense of life in the world. I believe that War and Peace is a novel that is greatly worthwhile and well worth your time if you ever want to really consider a novel that many told me would change my life. Now, will it change your life? That's up to you. But it certainly, you will have an impression one way or the other. You will come away thinking about life in a deeper way and in a more passionate way, having read this great, great novel called War and Peace. Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster.
Back to you, Catherine. In the absence of Catherine's attention, I would like to welcome a few other guests who have joined us tonight. We have Aguila and Rosemary Sweeney.
Oh, hi, Susan. I'm first of all not a guest. I'm also a member of the club, part of the area, but I was not able to join all these days because this is the exact time I have to rush to drop my daughter to school. So I'll just try my best to join in the future meetings and start taking up roles and giving speeches. Apologies for that.
Fantastic, fantastic. We also have Deanna as a repeat guest for us. Welcome, Deanna. And Sangeeta, are you a member of the club or a visitor? Yes, she is a member, okay. And Rose,
I'm a
yes?
member here. Yes.
Okay. And Rosemary Sweeney, guest or member?
I'm a visitor.
Visitor. Welcome. We're so glad to have you here Thank you. So, Catherine, are you back with us? Appears that she may have stepped aside, so I'm going to look at our agenda, and it appears that we would be going to our topics master, who is to be Christine, who is not here. So-
Well, I would like to take up table topics, if that's
Thank-
okay.
That would be fabulous. Thank you. Absent Christine, it is all yours. Go for it, Sangeeta.
Sangeetha, how will you
Yeah.
need time recorded?
We are being recorded.
No, how will you need time done for your event?
Now, how much time do we have? Yes, exactly. How much time do we have for the table topics?
We usually take between 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay, so I believe there would be 3 speakers. Okay, let's see how it goes. So having known the theme for today, it's about agility and entrepreneurship. So let's have some speeches on that. Who would be our first volunteers for the table topics? Anybody willing to volunteer?
Again, I see Deanna McCroy. So let him
Okay,
go first.
Diana, so you would like to take the first one? Okay, Diana, so what do you think are the most important qualities to be an entrepreneur?
And Deanna will write her answer in the chat for you to read
Okay.
later. And you can move
Mhm.
on to the next one.
Mhm.
I think Aguila was looking to volunteer, so next up.
Okay, so
We
yeah,
don't
okay,
speak,
we
is it
can.
on table topics? Is it not like that?
Hello, yeah, tell me, Ajila.
So in table topics, don't we we should speak on the topic for 1 to 2 minutes, right? Is it not
Yeah, we
like
should
that?
speak for 1 to 2 minutes. That's right. So Diana prefers typing, so she will type it out.
Okay, sorry, got it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So would you be willing to, talk now?
Yes, yes.
The tabletop? Okay, so let's think of a topic for you. What do you think are the biggest challenges, of being an entrepreneur? What do you think would be the hurdles, challenges, in becoming an entrepreneur? What do you think about it? The time starts now.
Thank you so much. There are quite a lot of challenges, but the first step to become an entrepreneur is the fear of failure, which stops people from taking the first step. So I think the constant pressure from seeing great examples or the great failures makes oneself have a self-doubt within them, thinking if I will win, if I can achieve, or will I be just one another person. So fear is the biggest enemy here. And if they overcome the fear, and there's a lot of pressure outside to constantly be winning. So the moment a person gets into an entrepreneurship, he or she should think that I should keep a buffer time of 1 to 2 years or 3 to 5 years. And it doesn't matter if I get the return on my investment. I should be able to take my investment back only after 5 years. So the foundation has to be laid so strong without expecting any returns. And handling people initially for an entrepreneur will be a big challenge because the product has to be sold, the internal company members has to be managed, and the stakeholders, customers. So there'll be too much in the person's mind, but if the person sits down and jots down and has the right set of people, they can achieve anything that they want. So just go ahead, and if you have an idea and if you think that idea will work, irrespective of whether the idea will win or not, I think you should just start. So that's what I have seen in my friends, and that's what I tell to myself when I have to start something. Thank you, and over to you, Sangeeta.
Thank you, Ajila. That was good points that you mentioned. Okay, so do we have another volunteer for our next talk? Okay, Jim. So, okay, let's go. I'll ask the same one. What do you think are the most important qualities to be an entrepreneur?
the most important qualities to be an entrepreneur, I believe, are that, first of all, an entrepreneur has to be willing to accept feedback from other people, particularly people who are more experienced in entrepreneurship. And I've heard from people who've wanted to go into business for themselves tell me, well, I wish I had spoken to other people before I stepped in, because while the idea that the person had may have been worthwhile, there are just so many things to consider that more experienced people can guide you about, and so forth. Many people have the idea that while it's not easy to start their own business, just the idea to start it is enough, and it's not. And oftentimes it's about being able to execute, and sometimes that entails leaning on people for a bit who have more experience in the entrepreneurial area that the person may want to go into. So there are many important characteristics, but I think the most important one of the most important ones, is the willingness to lean on more experienced people when necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, for your thoughts. So we can have few more speeches. So who would like to be the next one? Okay, so Rosemary and Piyush. So we'll go. Let's have both talks. So we'll go with Rosemary. Say in 20 years, I see you as an entrepreneur. So I will see you as an entrepreneur. What do you think? What kind of an entrepreneur would you have been in 20 years?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. In 20 years, what type of entrepreneur I'll be? Because my background is in finance, and I intend being a finance coach. That's the type of entrepreneur I will be. Now, I will be in business, but it is not only to make money. For quite a while now, the economic situation around the globe has been bleak. And I realize that a number of persons are heavily in debt. And as a former Toastmaster said, we should rely on people who have been there to assist us. But debt is like taboo, and everyone wants it to remain under the radar. Nobody wants to discuss their debt with people because they feel ashamed. They feel that they should not have all that debt. But I want people to realize that it is not your fault. All the time, things happen. Like here in Dominica, 2 years, in 2017, there was a hurricane which devastated the island and wiped out our income. Our GDP was below zero. And people were sent home. Houses were destroyed. And while getting on our feet, COVID came. Again, people were sent home with no income or little income, because in our country, we do not have any system where you get assistance when you're not working. And if you're in those difficult situations, you might just get more into debt. But you can discuss with somebody who can assist you as to ways you should try to minimize that debt and get out of debt in order to live a more fulfilled life and help your family. So this is that type of entrepreneur I will be. One who will work with people, help people, and ensure that they live a full life. Because if you are heavily indebted, it weighs on your mind, it brings you down, it makes you dissatisfied, whereas life is made to be lived to the fullest. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Very nice speech, Rosemary. That was a good one. We can imagine in 20 years. Okay, so the next question would be for Toastmaster Piyush. I can come up with a similar question. Say in 20 years, I will see you as an entrepreneur, say, and you would have been through your journey of becoming an entrepreneur. So what advice you would give for youngsters or who would want to take up that journey of being an entrepreneur?
It's a great question. Thank you, Madam Topic Master. One advice I would give to the people who are looking to become entrepreneur is they pick a field or a business that they are building that's something they're passionate about. If they're not passionate about themselves and they're there for a different reason, that's not going to work out. I would really club another point, it's just so it may not be just one advice, but two. Second is something that is a real problem. So something they're passionate about and something that they figured that it's a problem that a set of people are facing, that's worth spending time on. If they have just an idea and they're just simply passionate about it, and maybe there's nobody looking for it, so there isn't any business there. So it's important to have something that they love doing, and something, if it doesn't work in a short time, they have enough interest and passion to pursue, and at the same time this impacts somebody's life, or there are a set of people who are asking for it. So these are the 2 cents I would give to someone aspiring to be an entrepreneur. Back to you, Madam Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Piyush. That was good for impromptu speeches about entrepreneurship. So I think we are done about this table topics for now. Back to you, Toastmaster Catherine.
Excuse me, you did not read Diana's answer.
Yes, I will read right now. Yeah. So she has in the chat that I think Toastmaster meeting passion insight, powerful as speech, better passion. This is my feeling, emotion in love, meeting group passion, all people in the meeting passion, but I feel that love Toastmaster passion. Thank you very much for your speech, Diana. Very good one. And you have used word of the day as well. That's good. Yeah. Thank you.
Back to you, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta, for taking us through table topics. That was extremely exciting, and I'm glad that we were able to learn from one another. I feel like she has taken us on the whole bit of what I would talk about during my presentation. We are actually going into the evaluations, but before we move into the evaluations, I just want to share some bits of what I prepared on our theme, and this is regards to personal agility. Agility, the ability to move very fast and very easily, very attribute of discipline. In fact, I called it the bedrock for the 4th industrial and entrepreneurship revolution. I have seen this personally, but the things that I have found that are really helpful for us as Toastmasters, guests, and entrepreneurs is to be able to read, research, discover, study, and innovate. Create spaces of thinking. Do you have time to just think? Just think. Get out of your day, time to just think. When you get into the habit of thinking, your brain gets into the habit of moving quickly and easily. And what are those things you can do? Some of you are engaged in activities like sports or exercising routinely, or it might even just be something as simple as downtime, resting. What do you do in those seasons? Do you apply your thinking hats on? If you study, what are you studying for that is outside of the norm, outside of the workspace, outside of duty? Are you studying something to learn? Those are the things that are going to bring us to agility. What about coaching? Do you have someone you're accountable to? I thank the Toastmasters pathway programs and the education program. It gives us an opportunity to learn from mentors, to belong to a space like this one where we are being nurtured into growth, where we are evaluated, where somebody listens to us and says, no, you can stretch, no, you can stop, no, you can improve. That is personal agility. Are you applying that? And then the second one, which I promised to talk about, is communal agility. Communal agility. How do we as a people look, observe, learn, and apply ourselves? How do we collaborate? How do we confront what is the silent neighbor's name? Do you know what they're going through? Do you know the challenges they experience? Have you noticed that the water in your neighborhood is impure? Can you address the insecurity in your neighborhood? Are you aware that if your neighbor is not safe, you're not safe? Communal agility is the ability to move fast and easily with another, with people like-minded or living in a similar location. As entrepreneurs, we have to collaborate. We have to connect. An easy example is Africa and Asia that engages in mobile money transactions. Yes, banking is great, but at the community level, mobile money transactions have transformed the way people do business today. Without it, I do not think people were able to access the communal products in their neighborhoods. Communal agility transforms a people. And now I will stop at this point and ask you a few questions. Personally, what are you learning? I have been told that Rich Dad has said to us, it's not how much our investment goes up, but when it comes down is when it is most important. And the best thing a market or a region or an experience can teach you is how to learn from your mistakes. And the other is school smarts are important, but street smarts make us rich. So what attitudes are you applying to risk, to making mistakes, to learning? What attitudes of the people around you are they applying and you together to make mistakes and to learn? These are the areas where we can build our personal agility and communal agility. Great thinking for this week. I want to now invite our evaluators. DTM Susan will evaluate our great speakers, Toastmaster Carol and Toastmaster Jim. Welcome, DTM Susan. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Carol. I like to share what I saw, what I heard, and I'm going to start off with what you did well. What I saw was someone with great confidence. It was shown by your beautiful smile and your calm demeanor. And what I heard was your passion for your topic, because you chose specific words that were more impactful to us, and you used proper pausing through a majority of your presentation so that your audience could hear you, grasp the impact of what you were saying, understand before you move on. You did have one gesture that went just a little outside when you were holding up the sign. Your hands became outside. Be mindful of the boundary that we have. If your hands go outside, it's no longer as effective as if they are here. you could hold them up within the framework. You used slides that for the most part were very colorful. Loved the pictures of the people, loved the pictures of the sites, the golf courses, and several others. I would suggest to you that with the maps, I saw you go through 1, 2, 3 maps very quickly until you landed on one you wanted to share. I found that a bit distracting. The colorful one, I was trying to study it, and you were off it right away, went to a second and a third. And the ones that you focused on were a little on the dark side. I realized that they're probably from overhead and way up there to see the entire region, but try in some way to have it more colorful to keep the visibility for your audience. It was there, but it was challenging for us. Also, during the time of your doing the slides, you had a couple of times where you had some elongated pauses that were a little longer than comfortable. So if you're going to show something, take time to breathe and then to speak. And even if you're still trying to find the right slide, have something as a filler, not a and or anything else like that, but find something else to say as I take you on this journey and then bring us to that point. You had some fantastic research, not only the history of the location that you went to, but also the historical site category from National Geographic. That added credibility to the importance of this site. The picture of the stone forest was breathtaking. You could have used that instead of the building entrance coming in. That wasn't quite as interesting for us. I was wondering, so where are you going to show me the stone forest? I'm waiting. You made me patiently wait for that. Your enunciation was clear. We heard your passion. We heard how much research that you gave. We could hear your passion for not only travel, but golf and photography. And it might have been helpful for us to hear if these were actually photos you took yourself, because that adds to the credibility of the photographs that you shared. I thought you did a fabulous job. I will add tons more in my written evaluation to you, but great job. I felt like I was on that trip with you. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, DT and Susan, for that evaluation. Toastmaster Piyush, welcome to the podium.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Jim, another great speech delivered today. You had a really good opening. Again, you held the book in your hand. You showed us what this book is about, and you introduced the topic very well. Like on a given Labor Day, you were thinking about reading this book and finishing it up. So really good opening there. Showing the book to the audience, it was a good gesture. So you kind of added in some gestures in your presentation. You set the context really well, so people knew what's coming up. So this is a really great book, and you're going to introduce that book to us. So really something that I would look forward to. And I would say these are some of the speeches that really keeps me coming back to these meetings. You laid out the characters of the book really well, the Pierce, Prince Andre, and the heroine. And you told us you picturized these characters with passion, like as if I'm seeing a movie and I'm seeing who those people are and what they are made of. I've noticed some really good usage of English. Me not being a native speaker, when I hear some of these phrases, it really intrigues me and reminds me to sort of make use of these so that I look fancy in front of people, like how transformed his perspective in a profound way, his stagnant life, and how Tolstoy gives a panoramic view of 1805. And you gave us the panoramic view of the book and what Tolstoy was trying to say. I heard great clarity in your presentation, great pacing. Like there was never a place where I felt rushed or I felt that it's the pace is higher that I could not understand. So that's really good. You felt very comfortable. I think you are naturally, probably in your current role, you do deliver speeches. So you felt really confident, and your comfort level showed up there. Obviously, you had great interest in the topic because you presented us in a very clear manner. And towards the end, you summarized it. And I was thinking that maybe this is a point I'll add this as improvement, but you did a really good summary towards the end. As an improvement, I really struggled to find a point, but what I would say is maybe towards the second half of the presentation, where you talked about after introducing these characters, you were into the story. I think that's a bit of the portion you can cut so that you have enough time for the summary and you complete all of the speech in time. So just to quickly summarize, very well delivered speech, great setting of the context, and passionately telling us the story. As an improvement, you could work on maybe cutting down a bit of a story so that you have enough time for the summary towards the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Piyush, for that evaluation. I appreciate that, and I hope that Jim was able to receive it, and Carol was able to receive her evaluation from DTM Sylvan. Now, just before we go into our role taker report, I mentioned that in Africa, mobile money transactions have transformed the way business is run. In Asia, internet mobile transactions have transformed the collaborations between banks and people and telecom companies. It's amazing that at my doorstep in the pandemic, I could receive a product just with the click of a button on my phone. And that was very transformative to understand. Transactions between people, that has revolutionized business and entrepreneurship in Asia. This week, today, I'm dressed in pink. I'm dressed in pink because at my children's school is the pink fundraiser, the parents' pink breakfast in honor of breast cancer awareness. It is such a beautiful festival. It brings together a community of parents and business owners to support and impact. And it was by value that supports impact and hope.
Catherine, you appear to be breaking up.
Hear me now? Am I clear? Am I audible?
A little better. Yeah. It is not clear, but it is better than it was. We do need.
Let's get right into role takers reports as I find a better reception area. To our role takers, before I am going to share the final report, let me ask Grace to share the accounting report. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster, sorry. For my encounter report, I have found no filler words for speakers Carol, Catherine, Suzanne, and Rosemary. Jim, I have heard a lot of repeated words like to and off. Sangeeta, during your table topics, I hear some filler words like and Piyush, both for your table topic answer and evaluation, I have heard some filler words like and And Aguilar, during your table topic answer, I also heard filler words like and Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.
Catherine, we're not getting any audio from you. You are now muted, but we're having some trouble with your sound. Timer, Kenneth, would you like to share the timing report? I know you did put it into the chat, but could you give us a verbal?
Sure, I can
Please.
do a verbal run through. We had Carol at 14 minutes, 30 seconds, Jim at 9 minutes and 45 seconds. For table topics, Agila came in at 1 minute and 29, Jim at 1:30, Rosemary at 2:15, Piyush at 1:40, and on evaluations, Susan, you came in at 3:15, and Piyush, you came in at 3:36. Back to you, Susan.
Thank you very much. And I don't mean to step into Catherine's role for closing up our meeting, but we'd like to thank the guests who were here, and all but Deanna have already left the room. So we're appreciative. Thank you to our members who are returning. Aguila, hope to see you more. We do in fact hope to have our Vice President of Education, Grace, take the volunteers for next meeting, so she's not scrambling throughout the week.
Yes, thank you, Suzanne. May I ask who would want to take up the role as a Toastmaster of the Day next meeting?
I can be a speaker if I'm not sure how many people we already have, but if there's room, I would like to speak.
Okay, Piyush shall make you. I can also be the speaker, so Piyush and I can be the speakers for next week. Who can be the evaluator? Jim?
Grace, I'll take on Toastmaster of the Day.
Okay. Okay. Suzanne will be the Toastmasters of the Day. Who wants to be the other evaluator?
I can be an evaluator, Grace.
Who can be the table topics master? Carol, do you want to take up the role? How about?
Sorry, I don't think I can take.
Okay.
I'll be away.
Okay. Diana can be the counter. Sangeeta, do you want to take a role like timer or grammarian for next
I
week?
can pick up. Timer or grammarian, anything is fine.
Which one do you wanna have? Do you like grammarian or timer?
Timer.
Timer, okay. Sangeeta, timer. Who wants to take table topics master? Catherine, do you want to be the table topics master next week?
She writes in the chat that she can take any available role.
Okay. Okay. Catherine can be the table topics master, and then Diana could be the counter. So I'm just gonna ask somebody to take on the grammarian role for next week. So just to recap, Toastmasters of the day would be Suzanne. Table Topics Master would be Catherine. Timer, Sangeeta. Diana, a counter. And then speeches, me and Piyush. And evaluators would be Jim and Kenneth.
Okay, before you go, I just want to ask, Kenneth has jumped off, but Piyush, you're out in California, correct?
Yes.
Do you do time change like we do here on the East Coast? Where we're
Yeah.
going to go to daylight
Yes.
savings time, back to standard time?
Yes.
So we need to have at least some understanding of what we're going to do about timing. Raghu did make mention of it. If we are going to move our timing an hour different, you guys have the same time. We have to see how that's going to be. We go backwards. So instead of being at 9:30, it would be 8:30 for me here. You in California would be, you know, like the current timing for those in California. And I know this is so confusing, but I have to say, let's turn off the recording first and then we'll.
Yeah, yeah.